Would you change from your selfish ways?
Yes.
Will you give to God His praise?
Yes.
Do you have an altar inside of here?
Yes.
Do you kneel down and say your prayer?
Yes.
Do you take Holy Communion?
Yes.
Did you get rid of the Obia woman?
In a palace.
In Trinidad a few months ago, with the Prime Minister of Trinidad, he walks into the room with this woman. I take her with me everywhere, he said.
The PNM minister and told him that there was bid rigging taking place in Udicott.
Patrick, could I be like you?
Yes.
Should I fool the people?
Yes, indeed, of course, you have to replace the name Patrick, of course, with Keith Rowley. Building palaces and all kinds of edifices in order, of course, to line their respective pockets, essentially. Secondary, of course, is the people's business, even though they are using the people's money and depend on the people, of course, to be where they are. Yes, indeed. And let's say the late great, the first show, as he, of course, regale and repeat and analyze and, of course, factually sing or disclose what the Rowley administration and therefore the PNM is all about.
Did you take land from the poor?
Yes.
Will they still vote you for sure?
Yes.
Oh no.
1 million. 2 million. 3 million. 4 million. 1 billion.
Who said?
2 billion. 3 billion. 4 billion.
Is it true your eyes very long?
Yes.
Did you spend money to the ground?
Yes.
I hear the master bedroom alone. Patrick will blow me away. The figures they make known. Look, I don't know what to say. They say the dining area for sure cost about 6 million. The executive suite and more is a money squandalization. So much people in poverty. Some have nowhere to sleep nightly. Still you find time to build a palace. Well, I want you build one for me. I want a palace just like yours with about 300 doors. Calypso can give me that.
Oh yes, people, of course, a pleasant good night to all and Century, East, West, North, South, Central, or Prince and Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is the, of course, Tuesday edition of the Corridor Transformation. Your host, LENNOX Smith. And let me tell you tonight, of course, I think we have reached a long way in determining as to why did the knee-jerk exit of Rowley, at least by way of pronouncements and announcements. You see, we had, of course, a surmise that it was because Trump is in and Rowley gone. The coward that he is. Well, of course, we can, of course, reach a extremely far way in proving that. Of course, you would not have seen me on the ground report this morning. Well, it was largely because of that revelation. And don't forget, of course, the people, we wanted to target at least 20,000 a night, and therefore, your responsibility, share, as we, of course, prove tonight that is the advent of Trump that has created, of course, the exodus of Rowley and eventually the entire PNM, what I consider to be corrupt bunch of not just nincompoops for all intents and purposes, but of course the fact that they are evil, the fact that they are diabolical, the fact that they are abusers of the public purse and office, then we know we have a duty and responsibility when the time comes, particularly you young people, to get rid of them. Of course, we will focus on the young people as well as we look at programs and initiatives that can, of course, address that problem, because let's face it, it is clear that when the PNM is in government, crime and criminality escalates. And when the UNC is in office, of course, it deteriorates or de-accelerates. Yes, indeed. And so, of course, we will look at that tonight and other issues.
You foolish man.
Why, Patrick? Why, Patrick? Oh no, oh no.
1 million,
Oh,
2 million,
man.
3 million, 4 million,
Latvia.
1 billion,
Who say?
2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion.
Do you see about the people needs?
Yes,
Do you think he's a man of greed?
Marco Rubio could be
You tell
bad
me to
news
tighten
for
with
dragging
that.
deal between
But you're slack
Venezuela and
forever.
Trinidad and
You're
Tobago.
gone and you build
By
your
Raphael
palace
John
without
Law.
no regards for the
Trinidad Guardian. President-elect Donald Trump's choice of Marco Rubio to serve as Secretary of State of the United States could spell trouble for the Dragon gas deal and other agreements with Venezuela. TNT is no stranger to hardliner Rubio, who in 2019 warned the country about its relationship with Venezuela and Cuba. Energy economist Dr. Francisco Minaldi, who is the director of the Latin America Energy Program at the Center for Energy Studies at Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy in the United States, told Guardian Media that Rubio is a war hawk who wants to see the socialist regime of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro toppled. Without a doubt, Marco Rubio represents a more hawkish policy towards Venezuela. He is, of course, a Cuban American who has in the past been very antagonistic towards the Venezuelan regime and has suggested that maximum sanctions should be imposed. Minaldi is warning that sanctions against Venezuela could be hardened. However, the preponderance of the evidence is that being the Secretary of State who is so concerned about Venezuela and Cuba, that could imply a tougher sanctions regime against Venezuela. We can say that more likely than not that sanctions could be hardened. It is the case that the gas projects at TNT are in a separate category from the oil projects. But having said that, it is hard to predict. Last week, Trump nominated Florida Senator Marco Rubio as the next U.S. Secretary of State and the first Hispanic to hold this position. Rubio, 53, who is of Cuban heritage, was born in Miami and is a vocal critic of Cuba and Venezuela, and has repeatedly called for a hard-line stance against the two socialist countries. On his X Twitter account, Rubio has mentioned Trinidad and Tobago several times over the years. In 2019, he was critical of Trinidad and Tobago's relationship with Venezuela and Cuba. In July 2019, Rubio on his X Twitter account said, "The U.S. has an excellent and growing relationship with Trinidad and Tobago." He said helping Venezuela circumvent sanctions related to Venezuela through shipment of LPG via a third party would be an unnecessary irritant in our bilateral relationship. Then TNT Energy Minister Franklin Kahn was quoted by a local newspaper as saying that TNT cherishes its relationship with the United States and it will not help any country that the United States has sanctioned. Guardian Media reached out to Minister of Energy Stuart Young for his position on Rubio's new role, but he did not respond to the messages or calls. Energy consultant and former Energy Minister Kevin Ramarine told Guardian Media that the Dr. Keith Rowley administration has not built any meaningful relationship with the Republican Party, which is back in power, and this could have a negative impact. I have never seen any evidence that the current Rowley administration has built any material relationship with persons in the Republican Party. They seem to have focused almost exclusively on building relations with Democratic Party functionaries. He pointed out that the last Trump-appointed ambassador, Joseph Mondello, had a major dispute with the current Minister of Energy over the Delcy Rodriguez visit and the Rio Treaty. In an interview after his return to the United States, he concluded that Trinidad and Tobago is focused with building new relationships with China. Moreover, Marco Rubio and Elon Musk, two of the most senior members of the incoming Trump administration, have expressed strong views on Venezuela and its leadership. Rubio had tweeted in 2019 about what he saw as Trinidad's complicity with Venezuela and sanctions evasion. They will have their opinion of TNT and its relations with Venezuela, and they will have their foreign policy position on Venezuela. I can't say what they will do or not do, There are many moving parts that the U.S. will consider, such as illegal immigration of Venezuelans into the U.S. and Venezuela's claim on the Essequibo region of Guyana. Ramarine also said only time will tell if the Office of Foreign Assets Control's OFAC licenses will be extended. These licenses have allowed the energy projects to be possible. I can't say what they will do when the 2 OFAC licenses related to Dragon and Casino Mannequin expire. That, however, introduces another layer of uncertainty into the equation and ramps up political risk. Shell and BP will not commit U.S. hundreds of millions of shareholder money to these 2 projects unless the OFAC license, sword of Damocles, is removed. It shows that in politics things change all the time, and one day you are out and the next day you are in. A retired director of the Institute of International Relations, University of the West Indies, UWI, Dr. Anthony Gonzalez, in an interview with Guardian Media, is warning that a maximum pressure approach can affect TNT energy agreements if pushed to the extreme. That would mean even U.S. energy interests could also be affected. Chevron, for instance, will have to be sanctioned, and generally U.S. and European companies will lose access to Venezuelan oil. He may believe he can overthrow the regime in Venezuela, something which he tried without success in his first term. I would think that it is even more difficult today to change this regime given the fact that there are more left-wing governments in Latin America which are against external intervention, as well as the unwavering support of the military in Venezuela. Trump will also focus on immigration issue and deporting illegal Venezuelan immigrants back to Venezuela.
Yes, people will, of course, you got a comprehensive. I will, of course, play that again a little later. But, of course, it is critical that we understand the geopolitics that is now unfolding with the advent of Donald Trump as, of course, the U.S. Prime Minister, the U.S. President, let me put it that way. And, of course, that is, in fact, the fact. And, therefore, of course, it has some serious connotations for Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, it also raises the question whether we should intensify our protest or whether, of course, we should wait and allow things to unfold. Either way, it is clear that the Rowley administration asses are grasses. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Mr. Lennox.
Hey.
Good night. Hey, I couldn't wait to call you, man.
I understand.
Listen.
I understand.
I sent you a video of a Rubio was talking
Yes.
about Maduro and how he betrayed Biden
Yes,
because he lied for Biden.
That's right.
Saying that
the elections, yeah.
Yeah, he's saying that for the election and he went to do something else.
Yes.
Guess what? His ass is grass.
That's right.
You know?
And Rowley's as
Yeah,
well.
nah.
That is why Rowley has.
And Rowley
made
as
an
well.
exodus. Go ahead, yeah.
They know about the $1 million which the United States and Trinidad is paying Maduro.
That's right.
And they want to know what it's for. Yeah, nah, man. All in for a big ride, man. You know what I mean? The crap is now start. I'm telling you, that's why Raleigh take his head out.
Yeah, he running, but he can't hide.
He running.
But he can't hide, yeah.
He can't hide.
President, I just want to have a U.S. call on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Lennox, somebody saying, I don't know if you heard in the ground report this morning.
Yeah. No,
somebody say you are PNM?
I mean, my track record speaks for itself. I don't have in one way or another to prove anything again.
And they say, what?
That's
Bacchanal this morning.
That is the PNM propaganda in overdrive. In overdrive.
I say,
yeah,
Mr. Lennox had there to defend himself. You know? Yeah, but I was laughing. Why I was a joke
well,
this morning, man.
Of course, it's a big joke. You know, all these should I consider to be comic reliefers will, of course, appear. You know, like Zandolis and elements coming out from the woodwork. Well, it is silly time and of course party time. But for them,
Yeah,
their asses
but-
are grasses. We know that it is 39 seats. They can say what they want. And Oxford is up here, and
What-
they can say what they want.
that
39 seats for the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisesa.
That woman was after you, man. I wonder what she have against LENNOX. I said, what? LENNOX had to hear that.
They must know by
He said,
now
Lennox-
I am unbribable, one, and two, that my position is as constant as the Northern Star. And I am solidly in support of and in the corner of Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC.
No ma-
Simply
no ma-
because
no matter-
they are superior in all respects than the PNM. And what they say about the UNC is, of course, PNM propaganda that has now failed miserably. Go ahead.
Yeah, but LENNOX putting Joker front and side, right?
Yes.
Knowing Trump, man. Knowing Trump. Because Biden was very easy. Biden kind of eased up a little bit, easy going, you know what I mean? But you see, Donald Trump,
But Marcus,
I don't want to find out all these things going on and Donald to put a sanction on that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't be
definitely.
surprised, you know.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump, he's a man. He go off the rockers, you know.
Yeah, well, Marco Rubio
You know.
is clearly a belligerent. He is a total anti-Cuba, anti-Venezuela, and of course a stickler for sanctions and not giving
Yeah.
an inch to those what I consider to be pernicious regimes across the globe, whether it be China, whether it be Russia, whether it be North Korea, whether it be Venezuela, whether it be, of course, Cuba. Yes, especially in this.
Robbery is a person to play with.
Yes.
I know the man.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, let's let
Yeah,
somebody
he-
take it, call him.
Yes, yes. Thank you very
You know.
much. Of course, go ahead, caller. Tell us where you're calling from, so at least the next caller I can say, well, look, Mr. So-and-so is on the line, and therefore...
This is
please
Digo
wait.
Martin. This is Digo
Diego
Martin
Martin,
inside.
right. Okay. So Diego Martin is on the line. Go ahead, Diego Martin.
All right. Let me add some thread for that wonderful clip you played there. All right. The major oil player in Venezuela
Yes.
is Chevron,
Chevron, yes.
right? Chevron, I think, is on the bad side of Trump now.
Yeah. They are going after them. They're saying that no way must the Americans assist any regime to prop
Right.
up, because they're going to. They understand that they're going to. Iran has been deploying, of course, resources to construct drones in Venezuela now, and
Right.
they're saying simply that cannot be countenanced. But go ahead. Yeah.
Let me give you the evidence why most likely they will go after Chevron. Chevron, 85% of the political donations used to be for the Republicans. When it had the riots, the 2020 riots and the 2020 riots before Biden was inaugurated,
Yes.
Chevron came out and hit Trump and the rioters hard. They said we have to look at what we do in respect to political donations. That had to hit Trump and them and the Republican Party hard, and they might have not donated again. I ain't seen the latest figure, what percentage. So that is political payback.
Right.
So that is one. So Chevron most likely out of there, so Venezuela will be sinking fairly quickly. The other stroke of the pen is the terrorist gang, the gang in Venezuela, I think is the trend there, Aguara, something like that. Trump has identified that as a terrorist organization. So he's linking Trinidad to facilitating terrorist activity, terrorist gang. And that gang apparently has developed throughout CARICOM. You notice CARICOM didn't get no invite, eh?
Yeah.
Nobody from CARICOM.
Yeah,
got
even though we are supposed to be from the hemisphere as a grouping.
Right.
Yes.
But we invited, well, who made the way there? Edmundo Gonzalez.
That's
and
right.
they
Yes,
acknowledge him
that
as
is the accepted
opposition.
winner of
Yeah.
the presidential elections in Venezuela. Yes.
Right, but the inauguration, I think they recognize him as the president of Venezuela.
Venezuela. Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yes.
So those three threads again, showing why the man wants $1 million back pay and he wants
And to
89,000
get out
pension.
and to get out with alacrity, with
Right.
haste. But
Right.
he is leaving, of course, his backside exposed, like, of course, the typical ostrich. It's just a matter of time. Go ahead.
So I don't know what he's going to see CARICOM for. I think he's going to plan to steal the election to tell them what
Yeah,
to do.
because
and what not.
we have St. Vincent has been targeted as well in terms of the literature that we have available to us in terms of sympathizing
Yeah, we
with,
need
of course,
international approval. We
regime,
can't
yeah.
take we
Yeah.
can't take no chance because CARICOM,
Yeah.
at one point in time during all the fiasco in Ghana, say the GCOM managed the election. All right, but that wasn't so because GCOM didn't force the statement of poll to be given out. They wait about 3 weeks after, and one of them only Mingo, something
Yeah.
false and all kind of things. So it wasn't a properly run election. It's when the OAS and the EU come into the play.
Yeah, and
Then they
the
tell Rangers,
Carter Foundation. Yeah.
right, to get the act. No, two other threads I want to pull. This fella Limo, why you lady be transparent in Parliament, boy? Apparently, I am suspicious that he might have been called as the person responsible for hiding the files and then finding it back. Why he keep that? He want to go to court again under the Freedom of Information Act to pay his senior counsel and the friends of the government more money to basically lose the case again. And the third one, I seen the Women's League, of which Small Pin is the head of now,
Uh-huh.
clapping back at Kamala and on an article with respect to Biden as a failed presidency. But let's go back in history. You remember a lady named Balmati say what Trump go do we?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. Ballhead.
Right.
Fertility pill.
Right.
Fertility.
Yeah,
Medical assistance. Yeah.
Right. So we should have named she two children. One named Trinidad and one named Tobago because it was twins.
Well, I think I will prefer to use the analogy made by Warner when he said, of course, yes, there will be a Trinidad and a Tobago. Kamala in Trinidad, Farley in Tobago, and of course, Rowley will get the and. I suppose he'll be living over the Bocas.
Right.
Yes.
No. Yeah. And not only she, you remember it had a minister by the name of Ansel Antoine?
Yes, Antoine, yes.
He said something derogatory
Yes.
towards Trump.
Yes, and of course, Rowley pulled him out. That is why
The fiery and they put
Yeah.
the person who passed away.
who
to
passed
go
away,
to
yes,
the great
yes.
deal. Right. So I know
Lisa,
all of a sudden the Women's League of the PNM want to make a big issue. When the man from Zamania, you know the Baden PM, when he made that derogatory statement, when he get leadership of the Women's Brigade, they didn't say anything about his nasty and form out, but now they want to talk out to us. Tell them we are forgetting,
that's right,
We know
that's right. We have to
exactly what
bring
it
all
is.
those iniquities to the fore
Right.
and to establish forensically, because I mean that is what you are doing. The level of hypocrisy and the level of, at least at minimum, tinkering on criminal behavior, misuse and abuse of office, and no doubt lining their pockets, having regard, of course, to the
All right, I will
profligacy.
listen off here. Okay, good night.
Yeah. All right, thanks. Yes, indeed, of course. Let's go straight to the line once again. Pleasant, good night, a happy night, a happy night, a happy night, a happy night. Go ahead. Pleasant,
Hello.
good night. One time, go ahead.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox. Good night.
Yes,
Listen,
man.
Mr. Lennox.
Hey.
You know, this country is the greatest on the face of the earth. You know. Just imagine it was 9/11 in Tobago, right? When it was Chiochong in the parliament, sometime I think it was yesterday or Friday, I can't remember which day it was, right? The 9 members missing, Chiochong by himself like pour me one. I said, well, what kind of thing going on here?
You see
Right?
that? I
Now
didn't,
here we
I
know.
didn't observe that. That's mistake. Go ahead.
It's just back on anyway. Anyway, moving on. You know what you know that? I'm watching the news tonight here. I see CNC3 campaigning for PNM because Kamala say Biden administration is disastrous. And here who they interviewed PNM ministers. So God. You know, the that bad, you know. Yeah, the that bad, you know. Hey, this country is not best. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I know, I got this, I cross call back later. I got this.
Yeah, comic relief. You make a mockery of them, you lampoon them, and you embarrass them, and let them know that they are unworthy, were never worthy, of course, of ascending to and responding appropriately to these very high offices that Rowley generated. The camouflage and the narrative, the cacophonous babblings and the ambulatory, of course, verbalizations that really and truly has turned out to be a total catastrophe. And we must, of course, acknowledge that as a fact. Once again, of course, as I said, for those of you who just joined us, of course, both on YouTube and on Facebook, we have almost reached the climax of our conclusion as to what is the real reason why Rowley has made such a sudden departure, at least by announcement, or put another way, his intention so to do, and of course with a high degree of alacrity, speed. But let's go to the lines because I know that people will want to, of course, weigh in on this topic tonight, simply because we are getting, of course, almost where we would like to be, and that is to say, to get rid of them wholly and solely. 39 seats in Trinidad. But go ahead, my friend.
Listen, good night, Lennox. How you looking so? I don't know. You're looking like you're worried, boy. Like your people and them going to go behind bars, or you're looking so, you know, I'm watching you. You're looking worried. But let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
Right now, let me ask you something now.
Yes.
You know what deals they make behind closed doors?
If I know?
Yes, behind closed doors in Venezuela.
No, but your common sense and your application of logic, some call it, of course, deductive reasoning, some call it inductive reasoning, but at the end of the day, until the facts come out, you know, in a
well,
place.
that is why I'm asking that question.
Yeah.
Is it because that the person who was just elected and made some remarks concerning Venezuela, that we will finally know what exactly they were talking about and what is they did behind closed doors, and
Certainly,
all these things
that adds to the voluminous information that we would have generally be in the realm of
not privileged to get.
Now, of course, we could, of course, put the nuts and bolts together and come up with irrefutable facts. Yeah.
Right now, this last part of it, because I know I've got a caller. So the last part about this thing now is, now with all this is taking place, I noticed that the cabinet is being scattered. In my terminology, each man for himself now.
Well, of course, and you know, that was something I predicted. I predicted two things consistently, that in the twilight of the administration, all of these evil will come to fruition and manifestation. But more significantly, I thought it would have come earlier. I was predicting, of course, 2024, 2023, 2022. Of course, somebody was holding me to that. But then I had to revise my position because I realized that when we look back to the history, that the most prime ministers in the history of Trinidad and Tobago would have waited, excepting, of course, Patrick Manning. But everybody has waited until the twilight, until the constitutionally due ending of the term before, of course, the
Well, no, well,
but that's the only area
well, right.
I would have been.
You will
of having
divert.
short.
Yeah, right. So you would have diverted your
Yes,
knowledge to that. But when my
like everybody else.
right,
But
but
yeah, but Rowley and they
but
would want to, even though they are wrong, they would want, of course, to claim that they are right or give you the impression that they are
yeah.
right. And
Well,
that
but
is
my
so
judgment.
inhumane.
This is
yeah.
this is my first experience with what is going on here. So you may have a lot of knowledge in the past.
Yes.
So, but what I'm trying to say here now is that because of this move, I know that to me, it's in my eyes, in my blinkers of a horse, I decided that the little blinkers that they have straight down the path, it's looking like because of the American president coming in and knowing what connections that they have.
Yeah.
So he put small pin under the bus and hiding. He playing Bo
I
Peep,
think
as it
more
would say.
significantly, Small Pin is prepared to be the fall guy. Maybe
Yes,
younger,
well, he
trying, of course, to salvage or to protect the
small guy, fall guy.
the
What?
non-integrity of a man that has no integrity. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess it's either two things will happen. Either the sanctions will take place, or they will have to be behind bars and allow
Yeah, it's one or the others.
justice
yeah.
to prevail.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
in my
or
own humble
both.
opinion.
Sanctions
Or both.
and sanctions and behind bars. And
Okay,
that
one
is a
question,
prospect that is
one
good.
philosophy before I go
Go ahead.
is because if they got sanctioned, as I don't know if I remember saying it before you answered, if the prime minister and Small Pin get sanctioned, would it just affect them alone, or would it affect the country? Basically, meaning that we have to get a new prime minister, or the country itself will be getting the whole sanction and will each man to himself.
We are a very small state, a very insignificant or infinitesimal, meaning small player in the whole process. So it will affect them alone. They can maybe come to the United States and so on. Of course, it will affect them in the sense that Trinidad, the government that replaces the PNM will now have to look at that and invest and scrutinize them a little closer to get, of course, the relevant evidence, maybe to keep them here for criminal infringements, and or to, of course, engage in civil litigation against them for the way that they have, of course, profligatedly utilize our resources for their personal benefits.
Okay. All right. Well, let's forget tonight. Before you sign off, make sure I address this prime minister by his correct terminology name, and I do appreciate it. Thank you. Good night.
Well, I want to say one time, of course, this rapist and pedophile, right, opportunistic political parasite. Yes, indeed. Let's go straight to the line. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, good night. 2 seconds again. This is Lugomatic in
Yes, go ahead, my friend. Go ahead, my friend.
I am stressed out about this man going on with a $1 million pension, a back pay, and $89,000 in pension. And I'm also double stressed out that Small Pin could be getting the same benefits. But what I'm saying, these fellas have taken us to the back door of Venezuela and to the front door of Haiti. They have mismanaged our country to such an extent.
Yes.
They are known as the LTT, the Lying, Taxing, Thieving Government.
Yeah.
So I want to propose to the whole nation that one of the first acts we should pass is any prime minister or MP or senator, etc., who has been charged and prosecuted should get no pension based on taxpayers' money. I'll go and have a nice night.
No, I agree with you, and but there are always exceptions to the rule. So in this particular case, for example, if the evidence shows, and the evidence will show, that from the beginning, this was about a con job. This was about accessing power in order, of course, to line their respective pockets and, of course, engage in what is considered to be a mafia-type agenda and organization. The PNM itself having morphed into a criminal enterprise, no doubt. We just have to look at Balize House and understand that. And now that has come to the fore. And even though, of course, wages and salaries are considered to be something similar to maybe owning your home or property. In other words, it is constitutionally protected and you cannot take it away except by due process. It means, therefore, I think that any government will have a responsibility to tackle that particular issue and test it in the court in terms of course, taking that benefit that these people would have had as a consequence of occupying the office. But the office suggests that you will do that consistent with your oath of office to do right unto all, and to do so with a high degree of integrity, a high degree of conscious right and wrong, and of course to the best of your ability. The best of Rowley and their ability clearly is one that is nestled in criminal behavior. Criminal behavior, therefore that cannot be rewarded. So we have to find a way, of course, to dispossess these people of the ill-gotten gains that they would have had as a consequence of conning the population into being where they are and getting what they have been given. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox, and pleasant good night to the right-thinking citizen of this beloved. Mr. Lennox?
Yes.
Here I want to find out, right? And I know you could help me with this. Mr. Lennox, I want to ask this question. So, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley foresee that, or he didn't foresee, or he foresee that Donald Trump would have come back into office, right?
Yes.
And the media in the United States at the time was given with the impression that Donald Trump didn't have a chance.
Yes.
And when you look at it, he win the presidency, he win the Senate, and he win the popular vote.
That's right.
Right? So the media, where they was working, didn't have no impact on Donald Trump getting back into office because it was about the people.
Yes.
See a better light on that Donald Trump. So they say, we going back where we getting a little egg to suck.
That's right.
All right. The people of Trinidad and Tobago from 2010 to 2015 is one of the only administration that give back to Trinidad and Tobago in the way that I and all have to say that I was in a maze. I never see that kind of blessings yet. Right? So I say all of that to say, Dr. Rowley didn't foresee that Donald Trump would have come into office. So like, he realized the man coming to office after the election, he win. So he don't know that Dragon Field deal would have been out the door based on what we're seeing and the rumors that we're hearing going wrong and who they're looking to arrest and have a $25 million bond on his head and all these different things, right?
Right.
So we're watching to see that Dragon Field deal with Dr. Rowley and his administration put all the eggs in one basket. And they give away Trinidad and Tobago in a handbag to Venezuela because they allow illegal people to come into our country and do what the hell they want because of this Dragon Field deal that he literally leave in office and he would never see it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he plot it and he plot what he's going to do because the SRC is the president does appoint the SRC, not so?
Yes.
And who appoints the president? Not the prime minister.
Well, yes, literally, and in all practicality, because the party that has the majority in the parliament clearly will have its way.
Well said. So everything was concocted just how he wanted it.
Yeah.
And then now, he gave the impression like he didn't want the money. And then when it come into the nitty-gritty, he say he will accept the money based on his stewardship. Where this is the worst I've ever seen in my country.
What's stewardship? You have to ask. What's stewardship?
What's stewardship is
Even
what
a
I
blind
have to
man
ask.
could see that there has been nada, zero, zilch.
That's correct. So he raised the money, right? And then talking about who had to get it. When we listen to our political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisasa, she said she do not deserve this money at this time. Right? But he had the last say. And he received the money, or receiving the money, so he take the money. And he know the money coming with a big back pay. And he realized now the country hate him, nobody don't want him. So he stepped down, and then Donald Trump coming into office. I wonder if you're following me. We are trying
No,
to get
go ahead. You're right on track, my friend. I will just come in to add a little more meat to that bone that you have, of
and
course,
he realized now
advanced.
that
Yes.
all fall down. So he taken the high road and leave Trinidad and Tobago worse than when he meet it. Because when he meet Trinidad and Tobago in 2015, the country had money, the country was running, and most of the citizens had a smile on the face from good governance, if it's so to speak. And he mashed up the place, and he leaving it now in shambles, and people still bawling that they paying them till the dead, Mr. Lennox.
Well, they will die. They will die. Not because of the rest of us, but because of Rowley and them. If they are allowed, of course, to continue. So we know that we have to save them, who, of course, are prepared to commit suicide, because suicide itself is an offense, a criminal offense. But of course, if you die, I mean, there is nobody to prosecute.
And one more thing before I go, I realize this tax return thing showing up the government rare, because a lot of people is yet to receive the tax return. The whole police service is yet to receive the 4% back pay. Right?
Yes.
And the beloved Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Christopher, Honorable Rowley, want to leave with 80-something thousand, $800-something as a pension till he dead. And he wants Gary Sobers to get too. So like these people and them, everything Dr. Rowley did since he's in office is either to hoodwink and trick the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. So I just hope, I heard talking yesterday, last night, I hope the people of Trinidad and Tobago understand what we in. The children who ain't born yet had to pay for the 91 billion US that they borrow. Children who ain't born yet had to pay that. So I just hope they take all of these things into consideration and get Dr. Rowley and the whole band, because we still there small pindy. Get them out. We want them out. Mr. Lennox are angry. I ain't fed up with them.
You ought to be, and if you are not, I will be surprised. You ought to be angry, just as I am.
Angry, boy.
Yeah, just as I am, yes.
Yeah, so I just say I want to bring that to your attention. I hope I bring cross my explanation in the way for the listeners.
Yes, I think you're very, very lucid. You're very clear.
I know you will correct if there's anything that I want a little, that I lapse in. So thanks again, Mr. Lennox, for always allowing me for this contribution.
The pleasure is always mine, and you never fail, of course, to take advantage in a way that one would have expected.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Yes,
Lennox.
thank you as well. We have another caller. Let me just get, all right, let me get a caller. All right, a pleasant good night. Granny, a pleasant good night to you.
Good night, Lennox Smith. Good night. God bless all the boys. I see the Sendu woman. The woman that put the Sendu on her forehead. The PNM woman.
Oh yeah. What's the name? That's an upstart, right. A total neophyte that trying to be what she's not. But go ahead.
St. Augustine constituency.
Yes.
But let me tell you something. If Granny had to come out on a wheelchair, Granny using she phone, you know. Granny using she phone day and night,
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. That's the spirit.
Granny had to come out on a wheelchair. Lennox Smith, she cannot take this constituency, you know.
That's right.
I hope she know that. Granny coming out and going all down St. Augustine, all where I know people. I used to teach Hindi. Granny coming out, and I want every constituency in Trinidad. Let the people come out like Granny, and let them go and meet people and tell them, don't vote PNM. If she feels she could win in St. Augustine constituency, she make a mistake. Granny at the dead. Granny at the dead. Not here. Not in St. Augustine. That she disrespect she in-laws. She disrespect the Hindu religion. She disrespect her husband. With that Hindu when she had, I'm getting on like a wajang. Lennox Smith, tell the boys and them I say, good night and God bless all of you.
Yes, man. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, indeed. People must be angry. But there are several, what I consider oases in the desert. You know, you have spots of water to quench thirst and so on, called oasis. But there are several oases. But the first I want, of course, to direct your minds to is that of Kamala Prasad Bissesa. She has proven to be not just a tower of power, a tower of strength, a tower of resilience, an iconic individual in pursuit of the weaker sex, to say, but I can't see her as weaker sex because of her response to, of course, the advent of Donald Trump. I think she was perfect. She criticized Biden and, of course, lauded Donald Trump. And clearly it shows that she has matured as a diplomat and as a stateswoman. She knows that she has to seek Trinidad and Tobago's interests, and that therefore Biden would have been a hard bin. And having regard, of course, to the comments made by the current President Trump at his inaugural speech, or in his inaugural speech, she knows that she has, of course, to smoothen things so as to generate a platform to have cordial and, of course, a very meaningful relationship between the Americans and Trinidad and Tobago, in Trinidad and Tobago's interest, or at minimum to our respective or in our respective interests. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome, Mr. Faizabad.
Good night to each and every one, to Uncle Lennox and all your listeners, foreigners, and well-wishers. Share the live and let's bring it up to 30,000. I want 30,000 for Uncle Lennox to be a success on his journey.
Thank you very
Uncle
much
Lennox,
for that confidence. Go ahead. Yes.
Yes, the viewers and the listeners of this program will share because we are generous, because we share opinions and views, and we will share the live. So, Uncle Lennox, I was watching my television earlier on today, and I'm going to preach, I'm going to sing a lullaby tonight.
Go ahead.
When I hear Makache, fellas like Makache, and Sheda Brown, Avery Brown, and Just imagine a dissident, a sour grapes from in Tableland up in Rio Claro, saying that my esteemed political leader make a blunder by telling Joe Biden he was an ass. And just imagine, for talking the truth, they are saying and accusing my leader for talking the truth. But I want to ask every Bronx, who make a bigger blunt? As Ravi B say, you're blunt. You want to represent Keith Rowley constituency and the run you. Talk the truth. Bring it out to the public. Don't hide behind the gangry and the petticoat boy. Come out and say that all I had reject from the PNM. All I no longer needed in the PNM by Stuart Young. And stop misleading the public, try to mislead the public. Talk the truth like my leader. And Makashe, tell them that you was even, you make a dent in the PNM in Labre and they didn't serve the people. And now they put in person boots to get the seat. And what your leader say must go. Because here what's going on. Uncle Lennox started this program about the youth and the youth's development. And that is the sustainability and the existence of my island and my existence in time to come when I become a senior citizen. Because they will be totally bundled and doing the work to make the economy grow. So every Bronx and Makashe, when all they're talking about my political leader, talk about all their own, who is a big blunt, because for 9 years, all suffer the supporters and treat them with scorn, from granny to the child in the crib, the newborn, all disrespect them. And just imagine, all are coming now to put and we're talking about window dressing in UNC and blunt. All they had been putting a black man for the last 45 years who represent the PNM in public life as window dressing. And now they take down that old window dressing and the black stain and they put something white. And then all in the PNM, there's one to say that Ole belongs to the African diaspora and that the East Indian is thief. Check in Kid Rowley cabinet what he leave behind. How much Indian? So when Ole want to spread the rumor and try to cause racial disunity, try and say what went on in Balize house. Because you talk outside every Bronx and you break the code of the Nostradamus and you're being victimized for it. But in our political party, the United National Congress, our esteemed political leader, that why Rai Ragde could say what he want and how he want and when he want, and openly. So I call on the listeners in the Trinidad and Tobago diaspora that when you're talking about youth development, just imagine they have, Foster Cummins have a youth camp to open. The programs are the youth. I want the PNM constituencies to people who from it to call the program now. Anytime going forward and only live in a PNM control constituency, say what the youth is benefiting. So the rest of us will understand. And try and make me the jackass without detail. So when I call and say what the PNM have delivered for the membership for the last 9 years, I will pin the tail on my bottom and become the complete ass. But you see, politicking now is not the time to study them. Because the youth is way, way gone without guidance. And we have to pull them back. And the honest leader who have proven the track record in the history of the politics of Trinidad and Tobago is my esteemed political leader, Ms. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, education, training, and development. Good night, Miss Uncle Lennox, and sorry for the language.
That's quite all right, man. That's quite all right, of course. But tonight you could be as angry ad nauseum, or put another way, you could be angry unlimited. Unlimited. But he raised a very important point, because I did just before he made his intervention about, of course, the way that, or should I say, about the address or the statement made by the opposition leader Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Very appropriate. You see, it is Rowley and they, and maybe, and I have no doubt that the Foreign Affairs Minister will try to exert some kind of what I consider to be moral superiority in a situation where there is no need for that. This is about country, and your job is to protect Trinidad and Tobago, as is the job of Trump to protect United States. And when she made the statement, clearly it was about Trinidad and Tobago. Conversely, Rowley and they took the line of Maduro and put us in all kinds of difficulty. So hold on your tail. Well done, Kamala. A pleasant good night. Welcome. And where are you calling from?
Good night to everyone. How shall you be? Anyway, Lennox, and good night to Granny. Lennox.
Yes, go ahead. I'm trying to get you, make sure right, go ahead. Yes.
I find not enough is being done.
Speak up a little louder. Come a little closer to your phone or something. I'm not getting you clearly, but I know that they are hearing you. Yeah. Go ahead.
I find not enough is being done.
Oh, good. Okay.
Right? Right now, not enough is being done. You see these little paper and meeting and so on, that is still not enough. How much people, if you come and challenge today and you ask 10 people about this Vincent Nelson matter, and one might be able to answer you, if possible. Right? There's so much issues concerning this government, right? And they're not taking the streets as they should hit the streets. Get people to donate a kind at 200 or 250 with a mic, make some tape recordings that they can drive around the country like how we used to do it long time. You understand? How much people have listened to this program, the one earlier, and things like that. You understand? Not enough is being done to wake up this population, the sleeping population. The man over here saying, I know these chocolate set up people out there. And by the way, Rowley, your greatest achievement, right? The greatest achievement, right, was to be the worst prime minister probably in the world.
Worst and hated person in Trinidad. Not just as prime minister, but as a person hated, that has no class and is a devil in human form. Yeah.
Wicked man, you leave all them schools to run down. Yeah? Look at the Cuba Hospital, ready equipment, all them things. You just leave to run down in this country. It wasn't for COVID. That Cuba
and haven't failed, he ride out. Haven't failed, he ride out. And telling people don't forget him. We won't forget you at all. We will want you to come and celebrate it, and of course, blue lights is what we are looking for. We won't forget you at all, Rowley. Now go ahead.
Like, we saw a leader cut parliamentarian salaries and so on in some country some time ago, right?
Yes.
Could that be done in Trinidad? Could that be done in Trinidad?
Repeat it and speak a little louder. I'm getting you very faintly. I see that the system seems to be picking you up, but I am not hearing you well.
Okay, could they cut back the salaries of the parliamentarians and them?
Oh, you mean you're talking about the salaries?
Yeah, could they cut it back?
Yeah, we just explored that, and I think if it was done, even though of course salaries are considered to be like your house, people can't take it just without due process. So it's a constitutional right that you have. As your salary is deemed to be that as well. But I'm saying in this particular case where chicanery, trickery, and deception had been the order of the day from the beginning. And maybe I cannot see why the incoming Kamala Prasad UNC administration cannot explore the possibility of taking that back from them. Yeah.
If a man acts as prime minister for a few days, he shouldn't enjoy.
Because he would have been signed off as a prime minister by the president. The process is the important thing. You could say that he wants to be now, but if of course the letter is submitted to the president administers the oath of office, and after that, well, of course he is a prime minister, even if it's for one day.
So he will enjoy that
and he will enjoy that, yes, perk for the rest of his natural life, yes.
That should
as
never
a pension, yes.
We need to readdress those things.
Yeah, definitely, because it's unfair to have that level of evil and reward it. Yeah, that is what they are banking on, and we, the population, must resist that to the hilt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will try to call when I have a better.
Yeah, because I'm getting you very faintly, and I revere your contributions. All right, let's go to Mr. Thank you very much. Yes.
Peace and blessings to everyone.
Yes. Let's go to Mr. San Fernando. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah. San Fernando. Yeah.
Yes.
I was listening to the last caller just now, and he talked about all the schools and stuff like that is being run down. Run down under this present administration, and remember?
Yeah, they left it in Fallow, they left it to nature, they left it to the vandals, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Well, I've always said that the present minister of education should have been fired a long time ago. Remember, I always saying that, you know.
Yes.
Right?
You have been consistent with that, yeah.
But let me just add something here too.
Yes.
Not only the schools were allowed to being run down.
Yeah.
This week here, I passed down by where she built the People's Partnership government built the University of the West Indies. Down on
in the Bay. Yeah, the Bay campus. Yes.
And you know that is a very important piece of I should say
asset.
Yeah, towards university level and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the not diversification, but certainly the making it readily available by way of location. Yeah.
So the location, because when people would have been traveling from...
Yeah, decentralization is the term they use, yes.
You know, so, and now I pass in front the building and it's like, I almost didn't see the university itself because, you know, it's only when you pass, you see a set of grass, but the sign even and all, it started covered, that and all started to get grass over it.
Yeah, I have seen early childhood centers. I've seen secondary schools, not too far from the Balara Stadium there in where it is located in South. And I mean, it is a burning shame. I mean, it is a disgrace. Is absolute, of course, case of wanton. I mean, abandonment and dereliction of duty and responsibility only because you didn't build it and you have the resources.
Wow.
Go ahead.
If you know how I'm feeling right now, here how I'm feeling, Rowley is on the run, right?
Yeah, he's on the run,
right
of course,
now,
yeah.
Right now I'm feeling, he on the run and I'm feeling, I myself could get up and run him down myself.
But so many people are feeling that way as well. You cannot, of course, believe that you could go into the sunset and benefit from your irrationality and your decadence and your evil and your barbaric conduct because you had the office. No, that is evil. That is tragic.
And the reason, all the reasons too why I'm feeling so is because today also I'm talking to some young people.
Yeah.
And it's like they saying it with their own mouth.
Right.
Like, you know, they have no hope.
Yeah,
You know,
they have given up. And when young people give up, or giving the impression that they have given up, and then you've seen it manifested in different ways, whether it be because they are engaged in a revolution. All those who are gravitating to a life of crime, all those who are seeing power in a gun, or engaging in, of course, home invasions, and so on. They have their own response to the society's betrayal of them, and we as conscious people must understand and be as annoyed as they are, and even worse, because we have the responsibility to find ways and means, creative and otherwise, in order to ameliorate that situation. Otherwise, Trinidad and Tobago will certainly become a failed state, whether it be Somalia or Haiti, for that matter.
So I had to try today when about how many of them, it was about 4 or 5 of them.
Okay.
Talking to me.
Yes.
And I had to try today to bring the hopes up. Right? As I told you before, sometimes when I teach in a class too, you know, I would sing certain songs. I had to even sing 1 or 2 calypsos for them to try to get them to.
Yes,
you know,
and I know you have a very expansive repertoire.
Yeah, that's it. So, you know, I don't know, boy. This man leave this place in a real.
Yeah, it's a mess. Demand. I mean, and what is worse is that you still have those persons who he has assembled, loyal to him and that, for the 30 pieces of silver. I mean, a typical and unadulterated, conspicuous and pellucid Judas or Judases, plural in this case. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay then.
Well, that's my contribution tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that contribution. Okay. And I want to say again, you have to commend Kamala Prasad Bisesa for rising to the occasion, because you see, it's circumstance. I have this policy home here domestically, that it is about occasion. So you may see me, you know, in an ordinary short pants, maybe walking up and down the road. But if I have an occasion like this, where I have to, of course, confront or be exposed to the international community, whether diaspora or non-diaspora, I have to look sharp. So, of course, the compliment made by Mr. Trincity, I think, of course, is well placed, because I make it part and parcel of the production and the projection, quite apart from the content, because the content is what we discuss on a nightly basis, with, of course, the relevant support mechanisms, including, of course, instantaneous proof of what we are saying. So I want to commend, of course, Kamala Prasad Bisesa for rising to the occasion. And, of course, once again, if anybody, because I have not heard it, but I hear it from you, that if Amy Wrong and them is saying that, listen, he shouldn't decry Biden. No. They must do some introspection and realize that they have not, when the opportunity presented itself for them, they betrayed Trinidad and Tobago by attaching their fortunes to a criminal, and as Biden and they, and Biden, yes, but of course, more importantly, Trump and his Secretary of State, that's the guy you're seeing there now, have described as a narcotic group, a narcotic state, run by, of course, criminals, gang, that have captured the state to call Venezuela. That's what the man said. He said that Venezuela is run by narcotic group of individuals who have captured the country. And it is not by accident that the $15 million was put as a bounty on Maduro's head and recently upgraded or augmented by 10 million US dollars. And I would assume, dead or alive, come and get the money, bounty. And yet still, Rowley had the opportunity to seek Trinidad and Tobago's interests by, of course, taking a middle path at minimum. Only recently, I heard Stuart Young, I think in the parliament or somewhere else, yes, in the parliament, when he was making a case, I think, for the Dragon Gas deal, when at the time it appeared to be, of course, to manifest in the way that they would like. So hear him now. Where is Guaido? That ass. And you want to make him prime minister for me? Or anybody else for that matter? He asked the question, where's Guaido? Because the opposition were saying that Guaido must be considered in the matrix, in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago. Look at the opposition in Venezuela as well. And mind you, and what is more poignant, what is more, what I consider to be spectacularly conspicuous, is that no mention is made of Maduro's human rights violation in Venezuela that has caused over 7 million of the 27 million people that is supposed to be citizens of Venezuela. Rowley has not mentioned that. But they go and do deals with these people knowing full well that they are sanctioned, that their human rights record is abysmal, and that they have, out of at least an abundance of caution, not to be, or should I say, put themselves in a position to say that you are condoning human rights violation and therefore undermining the principles of democracy. And don't tell me about you're talking about non-intervention. Hold your tail. Non-intervention does not mean that you are going to, of course, see a fella with a gun and he robbing everybody else and you want to associate with him. Well, let me tell you something. When the police shoot down your tail because you was associating, knowing full well that the fella has a gun and that he's a bandit, and they shoot down your tail, do not say that you were innocent. Well, that is what Rowley and they have done to us. They did it at the OAS, the Organization of American States, when, of course, a simple decision to at least put sanction, not military action, put sanction. From Port of Spain, from Rowley and they, our representative on the OS was instructed to abstain. When the Lima group met to take further action against Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, as a member, was either not there or abstained. And what has made it worse is that Rowley went to the United Nations and on a bogus and tenuous and amorphous principle, not just of non-intervention, but because Maduro has been able, of course, by force, having, of course, commandeered the army in that country, and therefore the coercive force that an army brings with it because they have the guns and so on, so as to make the population submissive to their dictatorial and autocratic and, of course, draconian measures. People can't eat. People cannot go where they want. People cannot speak as they would like. People cannot talk out against evil and wickedness. And Rowley and they, by their conduct, have supported that. And as if to suggest that they are cut from the same cloth. When we had, of course, pushback 1 and pushback 2 in particular, Rowley and they charged 34 of us. I wasn't included, but of course, as a member of the pushback movement organizing, I can determine us is appropriate. And then on the second occasion, when people start to say, Rowley must go, Rowley must go, they tear gassed our tail. Well, I was, of course, a victim of that tear gas. I had to run. My throat burning, nostrils, even though I covered, but I had to breathe too. So some of that material will get into the tear gas, will get into the air that I would have inhaled into, of course, my lungs. And because I have a fair idea as to how tear gas operates scientifically, it is designed, of course, to stay low on the ground at the height of humans. So I had to run behind a building because it can't pass through the building in order, of course, to get the breathing space so that I could, of course, come out of that experience not as hurt as I would have if I got the full brunt of the tear gas. That is what Rowley and they did to us. And today, you trying, of course, to keep the PNM viable. You're trying to keep the PNM as a competitor for the UNC in the next elections by, of course, engaging in power struggles within the PNM, imploding as they are, and as a consequence of the criminal behavior, the mafia-type behavior, and the reckless and brutal policies and programs, the self-serving disposition, and Rowley himself being what? A recidivist sociopath. Recidivist sociopath. And that is why I say when blue lights and silver bracelets come as a consequence, of course, of going through the legal process, we're not going to act as how he would prefer, criticize the judiciary to get his way, and make the police, of course, judge, jury, and executioner. No, we're gonna respect the rule of law and the right to natural justice, as well as, of course, the judicial processes. A pleasant good night. Welcome, Miss Arima.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox Smith.
Good night.
Lennox?
Yes.
I listen to people. I see it's almost 10 o'clock. I say let me call now.
Yes.
And put in my little piece now.
Go ahead.
Lennox, people looking at this dragon gas deal, but it's not only that, you know. America, they say South America here by this next door neighbor where we live in next door too, is the back door. And Rowley never take care of the back door. Right?
That's right.
So they're going to come here to guard the back door. Right? They don't want no pressure down below by the back door. Watch the map. Trinidad is a transshipment zone. Let me talk about Marco Rubio. He is a man, speaks Spanish and English fluently. He don't need no interpreter to tell him what's going on down here. He don't need to ask question, he know everything. And when that man ready to throw blows, it there nothing about this country getting sanctioned and is Rowley and Stuart Young. Officials getting it too, and we going to get a good bit of pressure from that Donald Trump. It go be embargo. That's how he does fight one thing. It's going to be embargo. If Cuba have it, who the hell is we? Cuba is an island. Hmm? Trump does sanction everybody. When he see it's fit to put that on you, he giving you it. Right? Plenty of them officials in Venezuela sanctioned. Plenty of officials all in Cuba sanctioned. Who the hell is we? And we dealing strong with this criminal dictator man the next door. Hmm? Don't take carry, come and all will get it. I'm talking about that Ralph Gonzalez, Grenada. You go see blows. And when the embargo starts, so, and it's food hard to get certain things because there's shortage and we can't buy, and they will tell other countries those sell us and all kind of thing, and they can't sell us because they have to follow Trump rules. You will see bacchanal and confusion inside of here. And that carry come we like to feed off of we. Is them cause all of this with the way they does vote in the US. Everybody putting the pieces together now. All you worried? I was trying to tell all a long time we wasn't supposed to reach here. We should have pushed him out. So we had to take what we get. Have a good night.
Same to you, my dear. Have a good night. And yes, indeed. You know, there is a saying that who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad. That's one. And the old people also have a saying, who can't hear must feel. Well, certainly, we are in the beginnings of feeling the true pinch, the true effect, the true impact, the true negativity, the true deterioration of our circumstance. I say we from the perspective that we had a government and have a government that has betrayed us. And from that perspective, all of us must now feel the pinch. It is also said that elections have consequences. And while Kamala Persad-Bissessar as opposition and the UNC, what I consider to be monolithic, keep, of course, warning. And incidentally, the caller was correct when he said that traditional media was supporting, of course, Biden and Kamala and Kamala. But just, and I'm saying that from the perspective of comparison, what is happening in Trinidad as opposed to what happened there in terms of ensuring a victory for Trump. Well, we have the same scenario here. We have a very active social media platform, whether it be the Ground Report, whether it be Corridor, whether it be, of course, Observer, or whether it be others who are so engaged, and therefore they are taking, of course, their key pieces of information from these platforms, and therefore I could feel and, of course, know confidently that the outcome is inevitable. 39 seats for Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC. Forget the rest. They are either nuisance value or merely, of course, attempting to make themselves significant even though they are not. So I'm not going to be lured by, of course, the deflection or diversion. So social media, meeting, of course, those young people tonight, for example, and encouraging them to go and, of course, get themselves ready for, of course, the vote by, of course, going and register. I could do that until in the morning. And that is what Donald Trump beat Biden and they with. So while they had the $1 billion and $1 million investment, as the PNM will certainly try to commandeer all of the traditional, they cannot tell me. They cannot bribe me. They cannot bribe the ground report. They cannot bribe, of course, other social media conscientious presenters. And so we are able, of course, to say with confidence, just as Trump did, that the PNM and their operatives and their apologists and their sycophants, your collective political and electoral asses are grasses. Yes, indeed. But let's get back, just in case, of course, you did not hear, because, of course, the last caller would have hinted it, the position of Donald Trump and in respect of Trinidad and Tobago. And yes, indeed, they see Trinidad and Tobago inclusive of the Latin American countries, whether it be Central America, whether it be, of course, South America, as their backdoor, and therefore the Western Hemisphere, the so-called Monroe Doctrine, which, of course, it's obsolete, but it is something that, of course, Trump and they, as far as their own national security is concerned, that is why they want, of course, to buy or to influence the getting of Greenland. That is why they want, of course, to take back the Panama Canal. Because all of that is seen as their strategic security apparatus and or strategy. And that is why, of course, they want to begin to manufacture again. That is why they want to have a domestic supply of oil and gas that they could even export, as they have been doing in recent times by, of course, the technology called shale gas. And therefore, the so-called, I think, is fracking technology. Alaska is awash with fossil fuel deposits in the ground that they can extract. So all of that. So Trinidad and Tobago, I say to you that when you see people who are thinking in your best interests and not, of course, pandering to, of course, those elements that are inimical to us, and your common sense will tell you, ignore them, as you should ignore and must ignore Rowley and this lame duck administration. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant good night again, Lennox.
Yes,
Lennox,
yes.
I mean, Mr. Rima, pleasant good night to you. You're saying things that make a lot of sense, and definitely what it is I'm looking at is that Rowley know exactly what it is they're doing, and the Americans know exactly what it is they're going to be doing.
Yes, that's right.
Because what I'm saying is that they, like everything else, they operate on I believe, on a scale like this. If you're committing a crime, let's say for drug use, they don't allow and just hold you and just assume that you're doing drugs or selling drugs. They stay with you for months and keep an eye on you, watch you, look at your behavior, put all these different things in their file, and make a good profile of you of what it is you want to do. So when they come for you, they come in with everything, But because in one of the things I was looking at when he was signing and they talk about that, he said he have other people he coming for, but he just don't want to say who it is and what country. So that means it is inevitable that he's going to be coming on a quiet note, understand? You want to catch them before they run away, before they jump on a plane and skate out.
Yeah.
Or they go on vacation and they're telling the population now, the citizens now. We go on vacation because they're quick to go on vacation. You understand?
Yeah.
So
Always,
that's yeah. So that is why he's saying no, he's not going to reveal who he's going by, but we know a fact that he's going for Maduro. So anybody attached to him are definitely going to get looked at. So if in definition they know, but Lennox, you know, and everyone knows, if you're in trouble and you ask yourself, well, hey, don't go there because that is a bad thing and bad person, you go still go there. You go still go there knowing that they're saying don't go there. Or what about this for when we had the COVID-19 shutdown and the what's her name came across and allowed her to come in when we had our borders locked down.
Yes.
So yeah, so I mean, I'm just saying all these things. These people had sanctions against them, and they still are associating themselves with it. Well, they will get hold by association if they want to go that way and go play dumb and say I didn't know. That is the first thing they go say. I didn't know that had sanctions. But again, Lennox, Miss Arima was quite right. I concur what she says. But again, Rowley and them, boy, chicken better than them, boy. Chicken better than them. That's right. I was
right now. Rowley has
not
had his
me,
run.
partner.
He has had his run,
Not
and the elasticity of that run has come to an end.
I think so, and it's going to cause. They're going to seize. Well, you have property all in the states and things. So all that does that. You say kiss that goodbye,
Yeah.
You kiss him that goodbye because that is the first thing they're going to shut down and take back wherever it is and start from. Well, if you have bank accounts outside, well, that's the next thing they're going to be seizing. So all of that. So there you go ahead. I'm just hoping not, but that's how they operate. So I guess there is wait back and
that's
see.
how it should be. He could wish how much he
Yes.
wants. He could talk about, of course, sovereignty and all them kind of hogwash.
Yeah,
Sovereignty coming.
Well, when he started to say sovereignty nation, he's this and he could. I start to laugh. I say, but it's not that. We just here with our Trinidad and Tobago is a sweet TNT, and if we follow the rules, we gonna be just the sweeter TNT as they say. But no, they don't want that. They don't want that.
But Rowley knows that. That's why we conclude that he knows what he's doing, because he knows that we are a small nation. We don't even have a submarine. We don't have a warship. He mentioned that already, and then at one time he said that we don't want to get crushed as the grass when elephants are engaged in whatever belligerence or activities that they are engaged with against each other, referring of course to the bigger countries. And yet still he finds himself attaching Trinidad and Tobago's wagon to a country that could do nothing for us. Nothing.
Yes, nothing, absolutely nothing. And that is it. Like right
maybe,
now,
maybe for him, he probably makes some good money. We don't know yet why they were refurbishing that
Balize House.
No, that facility there that killed those 4 divers.
Yes. Because that pipeline was the division that wasn't supposed to be.
And the Americans would know.
Yeah.
Because when you listen to this clip here, you would see that this same Secretary of State, I talk about Marco Rubio, who was just confirmed yesterday as a Secretary of State for the United States. He said it prior to, of course, being there because he's a senator from Florida. And he was saying in tweets before that Trinidad and Tobago must now allow itself to be used by third party in order to breach the sanction and to, of course, prop up regimes such as Maduro. He said that. In tweets before about why you think Rowley gone. Because Rowley knows he's got a chance.
Yes.
And of course, you were hearing, of course, this man, Young, boasting that, look, we're Guaido not around again. But of course, he was criticizing the opposition for saying, well, at least talk with Guaido and them, the opposition in Venezuela. No, they're talking, of course, to a regime that, of course, is on its way to hell. Now, come on. All
I'm telling you.
Yes.
Well, yeah, all right, LENNOX. Good
All right,
night
people,
again. Good
thank you
night.
very much, of course,
Yeah.
for that intervention, to give me an opportunity, of course, to expatiate a bit on that particular geopolitical situation. But let's hear the video with respect, of course, to this the newly minted, I should say, Secretary of State for the United States. I'm talking about Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio. Don't forget that name. All right, let's take this call before we go to Marco Rubio. President, good night. Welcome.
Good night. Once more again, Mr. LENNOX.
Yes.
Mr. LENNOX, I will be very short. Listen, here I called to find out. You remember when oh gosh, boy, the $22 billion for the oh gosh, the sickness now will come out. Where is this again? Oh gosh, the sickness.
The 19,
the 29, the 28, the vaccine business now. What's it called again, boy? With the vaccine, and what you say he's gonna COVID, right? You remember that took $22 billion, I think, and nobody never really get no kind of money or anything like that. Where that money gone?
Yeah, and when they were counting publicly, I think Rowley reached just over $1 billion. I think
yes.
This fella in birth he reached a little more, and then of course got tired and said that, well, it was used for COVID, full stop. This is how the $3 billion that is missing and they can't account for. They say it was used, but they can't account as to where it went, or it came in, but they can't account as to where it is. All that kind of mismanagement at minimum, but really and truly that kind of shambolic conmanship. Clearly, because if you can't account for it, it means that you thief it. Full stop.
Exactly. You know, them are real questions to answer, Mr. Them are real questions to answer. But these people are really,
Yeah.
Like I go on, Mr. LENNOX. God bless.
Yes, let's go, of course, to that clip now, in case you didn't hear it earlier, because I played it earlier. But as we are closing now, of course, we just about 2 or 3 minutes. But of course, I will keep it until, of course, to the end. It's not too long. But of course, I think it will put things in perspective, and of course, be an appropriate, of course, conclusion to tonight's, of course, issue, where, of course, we are saying that Rowley and the PNM are now on the run.
Marco Rubio could be bad news for dragon deal between Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago. By Raphael John Law, the Trinidad Guardian. President-elect Donald Trump's choice of Marco Rubio to serve as Secretary of State of the United States could spell trouble for the Dragon gas deal and other agreements with Venezuela. TNT is no stranger to hardliner Rubio, who
let's pause as we take this call. I hope this will be the final call. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello.
Hey.
You hear me good?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Right. Remember Harry Belafonte?
Yeah, of course, beautiful voice, dulcet sounding voice. Yeah.
He came in a movie called The Odds Against Tomorrow.
All right.
Right now in this country, the odds against tomorrow.
I'm going to check that. That's again like we in that situation where we are there in a situation where they have the odds against tomorrow. They may not be no tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow ain't looking good at all.
Yeah. Odds against tomorrow. All right, I hear you.
But as far as Trump putting sanctions on anybody in this country, Trump ain't gonna do that. Trump know who he wants.
My friend, hold on. I have Mr. Tagarigo on. Go ahead, Tagarigo.
Trump know who he wants, LENNOX.
Yes.
He wants this whole country. Let me show you why. The whole of Hollywood went against Trump. And right now, Trump appoints Sylvester Stallone, John Voight, and Mel Gibson to talk to the people in Hollywood. You want to preserve that.
Right.
That belongs to America.
Yeah, because I mean, the Democrats failed there in terms of their environmental policy that diverted water to understand to save a particular species of fish, and of course all those expensive properties it just went up in a conflagration
Imagine,
of a hell-like dimension. Yeah.
yes. So, Trump don't want Hollywood to disappear. Although all of them went against it.
Because Schwarzenegger was against him, so he put Stallone. I understand the play. Yes.
Yeah, so he tried to preserve Hollywood.
Yeah.
And he said Stallone.
Well, he's going to catch that. He's going to catch that because delivery is the name of the game, and that's what it's all about. Rowley are talking delivery, don't deliver, but of course they are fattening themselves, their pockets, and of course who they prefer, and rather including of course their finances.
But as far as putting the embargo the whole of Trinidad, Trump ain't going to do that.
Yeah, I too. I don't think the whole of Trinidad and Tobago will be the victim of such action. It will happen. I agree with that. Yeah.
Right, so I should call you and tell you that.
What's the name of the picture again? What's the name of the picture? What's the name of the picture again? The movie.
Odds Against Tomorrow.
Odds Against Tomorrow. Right, my friend. I'll remember that and take a look at it. All right, let's take this final call. Go ahead, my friend. Caller, go ahead. Mr. Tagariga is off. Go ahead.
Yo.
Hello.
Young colleague, see me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, good night. Good night to the panel.
Yes.
Yeah. I sent a Google Map coordinate say last night.
Okay.
Where the program was going on. Right?
All right.
What is taking place with all these schools the last administration bill and the schools that are never commissioned? The Barataria North Secondary, Mount Hope Secondary, St. Joseph Secondary. Well, St. Joseph Secondary, in the full view, are members of parliament who traveling from east to west on a daily basis. It's in full view. That school never commissioned. Yeah. A brand new building, a brand new school never commissioned. The thief out all the material, all the roof, all the electrical fixtures. There's only a shell that rotting. Bacano growing on the upper floor.
There's one
in the classrooms.
South of the Kurup Main Road. There's one there as well. There are two next to three. Two early childcare and a secondary school. Same thing you're talking about. And overgrown, of course, with bushes.
That is over. Them infrastructure we talking about, that is over $1 billion infrastructure throughout. What I could call it. I know about Central or South if you have any like that and all. Would never commission. What I mean, never commission.
Tomorrow I will play the entire 106 of them and where they are. So maybe people could take note and go and check it out.
So what could come out of that? Who's accountable for that? But because you talking about brand new thing, but never commission that's allowed to deteriorate. Just to dwindle away anywhere, and nobody care.
There must be some kind of penalty, for want of a better term, or some kind of mechanism where a government could be so derelict, so vindictive.
The amount that thing this government to do. Which we could take over 15 years.
And mind you, Brian Lara, the money they spent on Brian Lara, they could have, of course, I'm sure, fixed a lot of those schools, which would have come in handy for COVID. And then, of course, the children would have had more facility, more assets.
Boy, these people and them supposed to be hold accountable criminally because these people do. These people these children are real unjust because look them train them in like St. Joseph Secondary, which is formerly Crepe Junior Sec. Them train them in the old building big panel of louvers missing and thing, and them at a new school and never get to go in that school, boy.
Yeah. And while that is happening, you have schools like long-established schools, Piccadilly Government, and the one on the flyover there. What do you call it?
Yeah, but
The one on the flyover there, they have been shut down. And the sharing school, in the case of Piccadilly, I know for sure, with of course Tranquility Government. Imagine that.
I did raise this concern on the ground report already. And if this issue we dealing with here, I feel we have to compile, get a group of people, by each one of these schools and them, and compile a video of all these schools and them, right?
Yeah.
And start to air this and start to make this like a road match.
Yeah, the condition in which they are now, because I have them when they were finished.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should.
Yeah, because
yeah, that's a very good idea. And I was saying, in that vein, of course, we are compiling, of course, a compendium of issues relating to Rowley and, of course, sanction the Venezuelans and so on, to send to the State Department, where, of course, the new Secretary of State is now in charge, in order, of course, to express the people's dissatisfaction as to the policies and program, the foreign policies and program of this government, that of course would have detriment Trinidad and Tobago, as expressed in the various fora in the United States under the Trump administration, whether it be in the Congress, whether it be of course at the confirmation hearings and so on. We need, of course, to do that, because it is about Trinidad and Tobago's interests. Had nothing to do with them. Rowley will say that if I do that, I am unpatriotic. Just imagine that. He has the audacity and the temerity to tell Kamala Persad-Bissessar that same hogwash, when he is the one that has put us in that situation to detriment our interests, detriment our development, detriment our economic advancement, detriment our quality of life and standard of living, and then has the audacity to, I say this man is a serial sociopath.
Watchman, this man only a garbage in his head, boy. It's garbage in this man's head. Now, let me tell you something, right? I find out something last year from my daughter's school, right? They stopped repeating Form 5 from since 2015, I think, or 2014 or something. So they stopped repeating Form 5. Okay. So what I'm saying, right? We having a problem with them youths and them now who come out of school and they get a work and thing and whatnot, right?
More than 13,000 coming out now. If you're not.
It's 19,000 trying to go to school every 19,000 plus.
And the 19 the year before, and the 19 the year before. Wow. Go ahead, my friend.
Right. That is including who drop out, who get a pass, and talk about everybody, yeah? Right. So what is going on? They come and they build these new facilities in some of these schools and them. Right? So what happened now? When they commission the new schools and them, they can refurbish the old buildings and them, and have the train and repeat Form 5, all what repeat Form 5 to get the 5 more levels, and probably raise the age to 20 to finish A levels, so that the train will be coming out of the streets and getting the poison, but it's not a problem.
Hey man, that is a common sense. But
a common sense thing, any private school child could think about that.
Common sense is not as common in the Rowley PNM administration. Imagine a man, Hines, people who have cerebral palsy children were getting some assistance through URP. You know what you know what they stop it for, and what is the reason for it? They say that URP wasn't designed for that, so they stop it.
Well, let me tell you something, right?
For that. So people in the Children's Life Fund, even though it might be a disease or a procedure that may not have been identified in the literature, but it will kill you anyway. You will die anyway. They're saying no, it's not in the literature, so therefore I can't help that child. In other words, you must stay and die. Yeah,
Uncle Lennox,
that's the kind of myopia we have purported to be, of
Uncle
course,
Lennox,
government. Yeah.
You older than me, right? So you know that same thing you talk about URP. You know URP evolved from Jude, right?
Yeah. And the
Right.
Works program.
So let the people from Laventille and them know how the emancipation come about, and let them know what the reason of emancipation. Let all them people from Laventille let them know. All the people who say Pyramid Black People Party. Jude, when all them people long time in the Northern Range was working in the cocoa estate for $2 in the Nowley school, and then can get a work in the golden estate for $2. Quillam bring out Jude and pay $9 and the finishing work. No, yeah, $9 and the finishing work 8:30, 9 o'clock. Right? So all them now leave the estate, leave the land and start to work for 2 hours and get $9 a day. And all them men long time posted like saga about the bad drinking and thing. Money not a problem. Right? So
yeah, we
so
have a whole
the
series
Jew
on that. And of course,
let them know
for urban, highly populated, densely populated areas such as Laventille and so on. But over the years, it has morphed into a national program, which of course have drained, or should I say, attracted workers that would otherwise be more productive in terms of agriculture, even factories and so on. But they decided
exactly
to
go and work Jude.
To the easier, the
exactly
condition.
That's
they're getting enough money to satisfy their basic needs, and the country suffers as a consequence. Yeah, you're quite right.
Yeah, because back then, in them timing.
Yeah, but the NR had the best program.
African.
Yeah, they call it.
Well, I don't want to say African. The average, Negro decent people from Trinidad, they couldn't carry African names because the then commissioner of police would have come pay a visit into the here kind of African name. Back then, you couldn't carry African name back then. So
yeah,
that is how the
Just as the Shouter Baptists could not, of course, do like the other denominational religious entities and, practice their religion. So that is a similar situation. Yeah, I agree.
And who gave Baptist the holiday?
Of course.
Who gave the Baptist?
Not the PNM. Who rightfully have done that? Because it was PNM administration. Well, at least
tell them that
on the books, even though of course it was done during colonial times. But of course, after 1956, and we had the first elections, and PNM came into being. One would have expected they would have expunged that from the books. They waited until Pandey came into office around 1995.
The late honorable Mr. Pandey.
That's when they got the holiday. We got the holiday because I'm a practicing, of course, Shouter Baptist, as distinct from Baptist is, put it that way.
Right.
All right.
So, have a good night, man.
Yes,
a nice program, nice
discussion.
Yeah, man.
Conscious and otherwise. All right. So, of course, I'm sure some of the C students who are still up with us and the CXC are learning a lot. But let's go straight, of course, to that video where, of course, the newly minted Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has long time before he became what he is now, only yesterday, he was expressing concern being part of a congressional committee looking at the hemisphere and looking at dangerous regimes such as Venezuela and Cuba.
2019 warned the country about its relationship with Venezuela and Cuba. Energy economist Dr. Francisco Minaldi, who is the director of the Latin America Energy Program at the Center for Energy Studies at Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy in the United States, told media that Rubio is a war hawk who wants to see the socialist regime of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro toppled. Without a doubt, Marco Rubio represents a more hawkish policy towards Venezuela. He is, of course, a Cuban American who has in the past been very antagonistic towards the Venezuelan regime and has suggested that maximum sanctions should be imposed. Minaldi is warning that sanctions against Venezuela could be hardened. However, the preponderance of the evidence is that being the Secretary of State who is so concerned about Venezuela and Cuba, that could imply a tougher sanctions regime against Venezuela. We can say that more likely than not that sanctions could be hardened. It is the case that the gas projects at TNT are in a separate category from the oil projects. But having said that, it is hard to predict. Last week, Trump nominated Florida Senator Marco Rubio as the next U.S. Secretary of State and the first Hispanic to hold this position. Rubio, 53, who is of Cuban heritage, was born in Miami and is a vocal critic of Cuba and Venezuela, and has repeatedly called for a hard-line stance against the two socialist countries. On his X Twitter account, Rubio has mentioned Trinidad and Tobago several times over the years. In 2019, he was critical of Trinidad and Tobago's relationship with Venezuela and Cuba. In July 2019, Rubio on his X Twitter account said, "The U.S. has an excellent and growing relationship with Trinidad and Tobago." He said helping Venezuela circumvent sanctions related to Venezuela through shipment of LPG via a third party would be an unnecessary irritant in our bilateral relationship. Then TNT Energy Minister Franklin Kahn was quoted by a local newspaper as saying that TNT cherishes its relationship with the United States and it will not help any country that the United States has sanctioned. Guardian Media reached out to Minister of Energy Stuart Young for his position on Rubio's new role, but he did not respond to the messages or calls. Energy consultant and former Energy Minister Kevin Ramarine told Guardian Media that the Dr. Keith Rowley administration has not built any meaningful relationship with the Republican Party, which is back in power, and this could have a negative impact. I have never seen any evidence that the current Rowley administration has built any material relationship with persons in the Republican Party. They seem to have focused almost exclusively on building relations with Democratic Party functionaries. He pointed out that the last Trump-appointed ambassador, Joseph Mondello, had a major dispute with the current Minister of Energy over the Delcy Rodriguez visit and the Rio Treaty. In an interview after his return to the United States, he concluded that Trinidad and Tobago is focused with building new relationships with China. Moreover, Marco Rubio and Elon Musk, two of the most senior members of the incoming Trump administration, have expressed strong views on Venezuela and its leadership. Rubio had tweeted in 2019 about what he saw as Trinidad's complicity with Venezuela and sanctions evasion. They will have their opinion of TNT and its relations with Venezuela, and they will have their foreign policy position on Venezuela. I can't say what they will do or not do. There are many moving parts that the U.S. will consider, such as illegal immigration of Venezuelans into the U.S. and Venezuela's claim on the Essequibo region of Guyana. Ramarine also said only time will tell if the Office of Foreign Assets Control's OFAC licenses will be extended. These licenses have allowed the energy projects to be possible. I can't say what they will do when the two OFAC licenses related to Dragon and Casino Mannequin expire. That, however, introduces another layer of uncertainty into the equation and ramps up political risk. Shell and BP will not commit U.S. hundreds of millions of shareholder money to these two projects unless the OFAC license, sword of Damocles, is removed. It shows that in politics things change all the time, and one day you are out and the next day you are in. A retired director of the Institute of International Relations, University of the West Indies, UWI, Dr. Anthony Gonzalez, in an interview with Guardian Media, is warning that a maximum pressure approach can affect TNT energy agreements if pushed to the extreme. That would mean even U.S. energy interests could also be affected. Chevron, for instance, will have to be sanctioned, and generally U.S. and European companies will lose access to Venezuelan oil. He may believe he can overthrow the regime in Venezuela, something which he tried without.
I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years it's the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down.
Well, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. Of course, let the dead bury the dead. Rowley and they and the PNM dead, let them bury themselves. Have a wonderful rest of the night. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mike, and myself, and of course, and from 7 o'clock, 7 in the morning, yes, so we have, of course, Gael, the Caribbean, where we communicate, of course, with our Caribbean colleagues, friends, family, quite apart from the diaspora on, of course, YouTube and Facebook. Have a wonderful rest of one. Have a wonderful rest of the night once again. God bless. Bye-bye.
That's all he does do. That man is away. Bury in the back of my cemetery. Turn he upside down. He face I can see. Look for the strongest grave digger to cover he. Not with the hand, put good fork on he. Gypsy, political grasshopper. I may feel little pity cause he's my brother. But like Tarzan, he's swinging from vine to vine. It's time I help you to make up your mind. Fitzgerald, Rasta City. I know they go glad to get the body. Resi on the tam down fall to see. Drink 2 beers and watch Coco get happy.
This is Massive Cosine, and I'm giving you an account.
Marco Rubio, bad news for drag Venezuela and Trinidad.
Hey!
By Raphael John.
Rowley mother planting garden down in La Romaine. Rowley mother working harder in the sun and rain. If you see this woman, she does nearly done, but the hard work she doing everything for she son. All the Piper Stephen and doing what they want. Forcing Rowley mother